A Guerrila Podcast Syndicate production.
Biggest thing we can do is just get stops and run. Stops and run, guys. Push every time.
Extra session with Kiko Malicdem tackles everything about the world of sports, especially the one close to the host's heart, basketball. Updates, discussion, clarification, name it. Extra session has it. Extra session with Kiko Malicdem.
Okay, so hello, good morning or good Monday to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Extra Session here in Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. I'm Kiko Malicdem, and here with me are two good friends who share the same passion as I have for the game of basketball. Both of them are basketball coaches, and they do follow the happenings in and out of the basketball world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Coach Chris Cruz and Coach Mike Perez.
Good
Coach
day
Mike.
to everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, so good day, coaches. How are you doing? Especially, syempre, pandemic ngayon, and then the pandemic hasn't been resolved since March. Kamusta ang mga buhay ngayon?
So far with me, okay naman. Okay naman with us, no? Very busy with our day job, of course, and on the side, we're doing yung mga podcast natin. So that's what's keeping us busy. And the NBA playoffs, Chef, definitely.
Ako naman,
Yes, about you, Coach Chris?
Busy din sa pagtuturo. No? We're busy shaping the minds of our youth. And also, like Coach Mike, no, we have a podcast on the side.
Yes. So sa mga hindi nakakaalam, si Coach Mike is one of the hosts ng popular podcast, Coaches Podcast. It's Bounce Pass. So you can watch them every Friday and follow them sa Facebook. Meron silang Facebook page, Bounce Pass. And then si Coach Chris naman, kasama natin sa Guerrila Podcast Syndicate, and he has his own podcast also, yung Sumasampalataya. Yan. So every Sunday or Monday?
Sunday.
O, saktong-sakto, di ba? Sabbath day, di ba?
Sabbath day, right?
and Bounce Pass. So nandito ngayon si Coach Chris and Coach Mike to accompany me as we will discuss the following topics. So we have one, the ongoing NBA playoffs, and of course two, the UST head coaching vacancy. So we'll start with and of course later we will have a guest who will join us for one of the topics that we will be discussing today. So we'll start with the NBA playoffs. So Coach Mike, Coach Chris, so what are your reactions on the ongoing bubble playoffs in the NBA?
I feel personally, I think they're correct in their advertisement that it's a different take on the game, no? Well, one thing that's really been taken out would be the factor of their six man, which would be your fans, no, and the stadium, no. A lot of players now are rising up to the occasion. Like we've seen, like Tyler Hero of Miami Heat, and other players as well, really just stepping up in this bubble, probably taking that opportunity. This is the time for us to show and tell everyone that hey, we're significant with our team, especially at this level of the playoffs.
Coach Chris, your point on the NBL bubble.
Tama si Coach Mike, yung discovery of new talent. No?
Mm-hmm.
Talagang napakaganda ng pinapakita nung Tyler Hero. No? Imagine, 20 years old lang na bata. No? Sabi ko, I feel old when I watch this kid. No? I feel really old. No? Tapos si Danton Robinson, sabi nila, Eastern Conference version of the Splash Brothers.
Right.
So maganda tong nangyayari na to sa liga, no, na wala yung Golden State, the usual, di ba, playoff suspects. Nakaka-discover ng bagong talents. Then we also see the brilliance of LeBron James, no. Maraming haters pero he's proving them wrong, di ba? 35 years old, you're 17. Pero yung hops niya talagang di ba? Above the rim pa rin, no? So haters gonna hate, but let's appreciate the talent.
Yes. I agree. Ako personally, I don't like LeBron James, pero I must admit he is the best player in the world right now, by far. So I siguro the point na siguro I don't like him, siguro yung mga flop style niya eh. Siguro mga ganun.
Ay, madikitan mo lang, no?
Pero basketball-wise, he's very, very good, I must admit. Kaya siguro, tama yung sabi mo, Coach Chris, eh. Don't hate, just appreciate. Diba? Kasi we might never know na, malay mo, 2 years na lang si LeBron sa kanyang basketball career. He's 35. So, we must appreciate kasi once in a generation talent lang makakita nang nagbubuhat ng team, di ba? So, Coach Mike said earlier that it's a brand new game, especially they taken out the sixth man, which is the pads, the home court. Do you think the current playoffs will have the same result if it was held in a normal setting wherein the home and away system is implemented, Coach Mike?
That to me, that's the big question. Actually, last night in our episode of Bounce Pass, we talked about it. No, we term these players, the discovery players that we have now in the bubble, we term them as the bubble superstars because we're not so sure how they would respond kung halimbawa open na yung lights ng buong arena, ang daming mga fans, cheering for you and against you. Of course, the pressure of having thousands of people, either supporting you or going against you. I mean, kung ganun ba yung situation, would we have these players rising up in the same way that they've risen dito sa bubble? That's a different take altogether. Parang ang dating ng bubble, it's like a glorified scrimmage with just something big at stake. Parang ganun, di ba? Parang mag-practice lang kayo, mag-tune up game lang kayo dyan. Pero wala yung nandyan yung sisigawan ka, they'll say cuss at you, and sometimes to the point of getting spit at, di ba? Minsan matutula ka pa. So, it's going to be interesting whether come the regular season or yung normal na scenarios would be, arenas and everything. It would be very interesting to see how they would respond pag bumalik na tayo dun sa dating environment ng home and away.
How about your take on that, Coach Chris? Do you think that we will have the same results?
Sa akin yung travel factor. Kasi well-rested talaga sila di ba? Pagkatapos niya, akyat lang sila sa hotel room nila, di ba? So, talagang pahinga sila ngayon. Hindi sila nape-pressure na pagkatapos ng laro, they're gonna pack their bags, they'll travel na uli sila. So, isang factor yun na sa tingin ko malaki yung fatigue factor because of traveling. So, kaya ngayon naka-discover nga tayo, siguro well-rested lang talaga sila. No? Pero yun ano na rin yan di ba? Mental toughness din niya maglaro sa empty arena. Ibang din yan, ibang phase din yan ng mental toughness. So the game is really changed because of this. Yeah.
Tsaka coach, parang though the environment is very safe, from the food that they eat and very the proximity of the places where they stay are very malapit, but still you can't take away the fact na the pressure and the stress of being away from family. I think that's one thing naman na masasabi natin.
Saka yung distractions, Kiko, yung ibang distractions yung meron dito Kung sabi ni Coach Mike, ang distraction sa normal setup, yung lights, di ba? Yung big stage. Ito, iba ang distraction dito. Ang distraction dito, yung mga pumupuntang mga babaeng kumukuha ng test result, di ba? May nasuspend pa nga player, di ba? Dahil doon. So, tapos na pinayagan na rin yung mga families nila. So, tingnan natin yung mangyayari kung magiging ba siya, a positive or negative effect sa mga players.
Kala kasi siguro nung nagpapasok ng ibang tao sa room, bahay no?
Oo, kala bahay.
Speaking of pasok, Kiko, your other guest is already here.
Yes, so we'll cut our conversation about the NBA playoffs as we will have a guest right now who's in the waiting room. And he is actually one of the applicants for the not for this program. Okay, one of the applicants for the USD coaching vacancy. Okay, so we'll just admit him. Yes, good day. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest for today, as we were talking about the NBA discussion bubble earlier, we'll stop that, and we have here our guest for today. He's a multi-titled coach, a veteran coach, international basketball, and of course, he's one of the applicants for the vacancy of the UST basketball men's head coaching job. So we have on the in the United States right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Coach Chris Daleo. Coach Chris, good day.
Hello, I'm wearing my Celtics shirt because I think they're going to win today.
Oh, wow.
You don't think so?
No, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm on the same team. I'm on the same team.
Okay, so I thought I'd wear my Celtics gear.
That's good.
Coach Chris, I have here my friends, Coach Mike and Coach Chris also. They will be joining me in, discussing about your basketball career and, of course, your application as the UST head coach. I'm sorry. So we do have some like 6 questions. Maybe you could help us, for basketball fanatics actually who have followed the sport. Of course, they know you, Coach Chris. But for the benefit of those, who has just heard your name, Coach Chris Daleo, could you give us a coaching background about? How did you go? How did you enter the coaching world in basketball?
Well, years ago, I don't want to age myself, but years ago, I got started in basketball, and I started out as a volunteer at a junior college, and I felt that it was easier to get a job in basketball if they didn't have to pay you. So I started out as a volunteer, and actually that's really where I cut my teeth in the junior college world, and we went to the national tournament in that. And then from there, I did after a couple years of that, and I was working odd jobs because my family was just getting started. I went to the CBA, which for those who are basketball historians, that was the G League before the G League. And I did the same thing. My first year there, I volunteered, and I worked my way up the ladder to head coach. Then I went to college in the NAIA, and I was head coach in college for 3 years, which we went to the Final Four. Then I went back to the CBA, and then, then I've been overseas in Thailand for the past 3. So, I've done a wide variety of things, from junior college to 4-year college to pro to overseas to national team. So, the resume's been pretty solid that way. But that's kind of how I got my start.
I see. So, Coach, what type of coach are you? Are you this strict type? Are you this patient one? Are you this lenient type? What type of coach are you?
You know what? I wouldn't say I'm a strict type. I firmly believe in putting players in a position for success. So although I have my coach's philosophies, I like to run, press, and trap. I like to, I'm a sideline, baseline, defensively. My offensive transitions, is something that I focus a lot on. But also I understand that if the players that you have can't necessarily do those things, you're going to work on those weaknesses. But also I think you got to play to your strengths. So you have to be able to, I feel, be able to adjust and mold to what the group that you have in order to achieve a level of success. And I believe that, coaches, they're judged on wins and losses and championships won, and so that's something I've always taken to heart. I've always, tried to win every single game, tried to win every single championship, because that's how you're judged, I feel, and that's how you feed your family. But if you don't have your players that buy into your system or can't do the things that you like, you have to adjust. You got to bend, or if you don't bend, you'll break. So that's the way I feel.
Coach Mike?
Well, yeah, I think I agree to what Coach has mentioned about him being a push guy on the baseline and the sideline from the defensive standpoint. I like that Coach Chris has this philosophy about why do we let them play the backcourt freely? Why don't we just pressure them from the back and have them very little time to set it up in the front court? My question, Coach, is that having this very aggressive approach towards defense and your philosophies, I've seen some of your work. How much time do you put into conditioning, and are there special trainings that you put in order to prepare them for these games?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't. A lot of coaches scrimmage a lot. I don't scrimmage. I don't. But I do go full court and half court, but I do believe I go 5 versus 3, with 3 being defensively. So we rotate, we're picking up full, we're communicating. I do 5 versus 4 in transition. I got a lot of that from Bobby Huggins in Cincinnati. I spent a summer, I slept on the floor of the locker room just so I can learn from Bobby Huggins.
Yeah, because he's a pressing coach.
What's that?
He's a pressing coach.
Oh, yes. And that's why I firmly believe I'm picking up full. We when I was in Thailand, right before COVID hit, we played Korea. And Korea was ranked 30th in the world.
Right.
We were ranked 105th. But what we did defensively, I think, really set them off. We changed our defenses a lot, where sometimes we're picking up full, sometimes we're in a 2-2-1 in a press, sometimes we're in a diamond press, sometimes we're straight man, sometimes we fell back into a zone. And I think they really couldn't get into a rhythm offensively. And I think that really helped us. We lost by 7. We had a shot, a good mid-range shot that fell out at the buzzer, which would have cut to 5. But that was really a big game for us. But looking back on that film, I firmly believe that you have to change your defenses, or else offenses get into a rhythm. If you play zone the whole time, towards the end of the game, they know you're in a zone. They know how to attack that zone. You're going to give up buckets at the end. So I believe in not letting offenses do what they want to do and changing your defenses up. I believe that. But a majority of my practice is we're working on our offensive game, but also a lot of it is 5 versus 4, 5 versus 3, just for rotations and things of that nature, to be honest.
Coach Chris King?
Coach,
yes.
Good morning.
Hello.
Let's talk about your application at UST.
Okay.
You're gonna coach student athletes, and aside from the X's and O's, what's the biggest value that you teach student athletes when you coach players like them?
Well, this won't be my first time, coaching in college. I coached in college before. I coached here in the United States on the junior college level, and I've coached on the 4-year college level. So it's not like I've just been nothing but a pro coach or an international coach. So I know the value of recruiting the right player, and not only for the basketball system, but also for the person, as a player. That is so important. And I do the same thing in the pro ranks when I have to bring over an import. Life is too short to deal with a jerky guy, or a real egotistical guy, or somebody that won't buy into your system. It's the same way with a student athlete. Somebody that's not going to mesh with the other people on the court. Somebody who's irresponsible and not take care of his classwork. Somebody's not going to do the extra work. It's not worth it to bring in that player. So when I go and recruit my athletes, whether it's on the pro level or on the college level or junior college level, those are things that I always ask either the agent if it's on the pro level, or on their coach, or people that know that person. Is he a good guy? Is he responsible? Does he work hard both on and off the court? Do I have to babysit this player, or is he mature enough to be able to handle the things that are presented before him? And those things are important. I don't believe that you have to make a deal, with a kid or a player just to get wins. My resume speaks for itself, and I've shied away. I've learned over the years. It's just some guys, they're going to do it, and more power to those coaches. Me, it's not, life is too short to deal with that sort of thing. So I would like a well-rounded player and a well-rounded person. I like a person that's going to represent well on and off the court. I like a person that I want to be around that's going to work hard. I like a person that is adjusted and mature on what's going on. And those are ways I look on every level. So hopefully that answers your question of what you want. It's just a question of doing your due diligence, of knowing the people that you see how they perform on the court, but also who's recommending this person to me. You know, after 25 years of basketball, I can pick up a phone, or somebody's going to pick up the phone and call me, look at this kid, look at that kid. This kid can do this kid can do that, this kid's a problem. And I trust those people and I trust those players to give me that. So that gives me kind of a leg up on a lot of people, I think, because of so many years that I've been at it. In the context that I have.
Coach Chris, what attracted you to the coaching vacancy in UST? How were you able to know about this, and what attracted you to apply for it?
Well, I follow, back in the CBA days, when I worked coach for Rockford back in the Continental, the players they played for me in the season, and then a lot of those players would go play in the Philippines. Ronnie Fields, Chris King, they would go play in the Philippines. So that was 15, 10, 12 years ago. So that's when I started to follow Filipino basketball. So that was on the pro level. When I got to Thailand, certainly I followed the ABL and Coach Jimmy. I had Jason Brinkman, all those, Xavier Alexander, who was an ABL player but didn't play for Olive. So then I started to follow that. As the internet got stronger, you start to follow websites, of certain places around the world, certain things you want to get interested in. And certainly all the websites, it fascinated me, all the websites that were devoted to Filipino basketball on all levels. That shows you what a passion that they had. The fans have. And then in turn, when I went there for the SEA Games and played in Manila, I mean, why wouldn't you want to go and coach there? Because of the passion that the fans have, and the players played so hard, and people understood basketball, and they cherished and recognized winning and honored winning and integrity of winning and winning games and winning championships. So that's what has drawn me to the Philippines and Philippines basketball over the years. For the UST, of course you're going to see it. It's on every website. What had happened, the players that were coming or going, the negativity involved with that. And, I think back, one of my greatest things rewarding that I had when I coached at the NAI at Barrett College, they never had a winning season. So I had to build that program. We went 9-24 my first year, 24-9 my second year, and 33-6 in the Final Four my last year. So for me, I always felt that was a great accomplishment and something I took great pride in. And graduating my kids, by the way. It wasn't a question like kids weren't graduating. We brought in a bunch of kids that went and played. So, and some of those kids I still talk to this day. So that was, I think, winning the silver for Thailand in the Philippines is for the men and women. I won it for the women too. Great accomplishments. Barrett College going to the Final Four was something I'll always treasure as well. Those are kind of my biggest things. So that's what I saw the UST, and I wanted to put my hat in the ring because I really enjoyed what I did at Barrett College and building that program back, and then going to the Final Four from starting from scratch.
Coach Mike, you have a question for Coach Chris Daleo.
Yeah, well, Coach Chris, I understand that you've got the 5th highest winning percentage in the CBA, being next to George Karl, Phil Jackson, Musselman, and Dave Yoger. These are very impressive people that you have on that list with you. And you mentioning about winning being one of the key indicators of how you'd go far in terms of coaching. And I understand also that you try and empower your players, and a lot of your players, based from what I've read, really love you. One of your players from Thailand, your point guard, Kiao Kola, I think. Hopefully I got his name right. He says that you always get them ready, but in practices, but you let them play come play day. Now, this really just goes to show the kind of culture that you try to bring in each of your basketball teams. And with UST being one of the winning cultures as well in college basketball, what's that unique offer that you have for UST? And do you have any plans of getting into the Gilas pool as well, to be part, or at least be an assistant, or maybe in the future a head coach of Gilas Pilipinas?
I would, I would love a position like that, but really, I'd love to go be in the coach in the Philippines because of the things I talked about with before.
Mm-hmm.
Some players, I always say, the players that are softies, they don't like me too much. But the players that play hard and understand and buy into it, yeah, we get along really well. But softies, not so much, because you can't be friend. There has to be a line. And some coaches, they don't understand that. They want to all be friends and everything else. Yeah, you can all be friends, but this is a business.
Mm-hmm.
It's wins and losses.
Right.
And nobody hires a losing coach.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody gives raises to losing players.
Right.
So, and people don't want to go to losing programs. So you want to establish yourself as a winner. You want to be known as a winner, and you want to have a legacy of winning.
Right.
And that has a value. That has a value because players want to go to winning programs, students want to go to winning teams, and nobody really wants to go to a loser. So you have to work hard. It's easy if you just want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to really work hard and do extra, which I got no problem doing because it's my love to get to here. And that's something that I really enjoy. I try to put, like I said before, I try to put my players in a position where they're going to succeed. These coaches that tell you, oh, I can do this, I drop this, I can do that. No, it's player driven. It's not ego driven. It's player driven. If you don't have good players, you're not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And the ego of these coaches sometimes, I don't want to speak too much out of turn, but think that it's all about them. That's no way. No way. You got to have good players, and you gotta surround yourself with good people. A lot of positive energy, a lot of good things. Yeah, we're gonna be hard. We're gonna have to work, but with that becomes rewards. And I believe hard work works. I believe that.
Okay. So, Coach Chris,
Yes.
the person on your left, well, based on my screen, Coach Chris King is working in USC also right now as a teacher. So he's trying to absorb everything that you're saying about
Because some of my students will be his players.
Yes.
If ever that will be hired.
Right.
Well, I hope I'm not too long-winded in my answers, but I just it's just a passion for me.
Right.
I love talking basketball, and I love to share time with people who share the same passion and enjoy the game of basketball as much as I do, and I get excited, with that. So I apologize if I'm too long-winded.
No, that's okay, Coach. We love that.
Coach Chris King, you have a question for Coach Chris.
Coach Chris, what's that one thing that sets you apart from other coaching applicants for the UST position?
Well, I can't really comment on the other coaches' strengths or weaknesses, because I only take care of myself and what I produce on the court. But to be honest, what I feel sets me apart, without even looking at anybody else, is a resume of 25 years of excellence. That's the one thing. That there's not a lot of coaches that have that, and I don't want to be an egotistical guy, but I pride myself in having a good, solid resume on all levels. Even Thailand women's national team, we won the silver.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. The second thing is I have connections here in the United States for not only for our import, but also for Filipino Americans, which some people don't have. I cross over lines, I cross over borders. My reputation for that is known, globally, I guess. I mean, I don't want to sound like, too much, but people know me and what I'm looking for and what I can do. So I think those things are good for me if somebody's looking at me for that position for UST. They say this guy's known throughout the world. He has connections in the United States for imports as well as Filipino Americans. He can recruit on the college level. He's done it. He's built programs. He's done it. He has 25 years of winning basketball. All those are, I would think, pretty good if I was looking for a position or for somebody. I think those are pretty solid. No scandals, no problems. All respectful. Always hired back for multiple years by my owners. Mm-hmm. I've never, really been one and out. Always. So I respect the game, and I think those are all positive things.
Coach Chris, so basically you handle the Thailand national women's and men's national team. So basically that included, scouting the opponents, including the Philippine national team. What is your take, or how do you find the Philippine basketball in general?
Well, I'll talk about the men's team because that's the one most recently,
Yes.
My goal was to play them for the gold. And that was really the first time in 6 years that Thailand has won the silver. But when I looked and I watched them, they're so strong. And especially playing on their home court, so passionate about the game. I knew we were in for really some work. I mean, Christian Harger is so strong. Pringle played so well. They were so deep. A lot of respect went to that, So I knew it was going to be a tough order. So really my goals going into that was just to get to there to play them, and that goal was accomplished.
I see. You have any other questions, Coach Mike and Coach Chris King?
Well, as for me, I'm just pretty interested on what Coach Chris's take on Philippine basketball is. I mean, he's been against our Filipino players in the ABL. You've been against our national team in the 2019 SEA Games, and I know you do. You're kind of familiar with the different coaches that we have here. Talk to us about what are some of the skill sets or some of the things that you like about our Philippine basketball players. And what are some of the things that you've noticed so far, knowing the coaching landscape in the country?
I know just from reading articles, I know that there's a question concerning philosophies and different philosophies for going on to the World Cup and things of that, different things. And I know there's been some questions raised about, isolation plays or style of play and what different coaches bring, and I've always been a guy, I don't talk bad about other coaches. I only worry about myself. And I feel that with my defensive philosophies, if we do them correctly, we can hang with any club. And it doesn't matter who I'm coaching, that if we do those things, and I learned those from George Karl back in the summer league. When George was with Seattle and with Milwaukee, I spent a lot of time there, drove out there, spent time, and I absorbed all that stuff from George concerning inverted defenses, sideline baseline defenses, where to pack in the inverted eye defenses. So I know that we can play with anybody with that. So and then offense for me is a transitional game. But I don't like to see, I don't normally talk about other coaches except what I respect and what they do. For me, I just have to take care of myself and my club. I mean, I don't want to punt on the question, but I feel that whichever situation I'm in, give me some time, give me some players which to work with. We're going to be able to play with anybody, and my history has shown that.
Would you have any special player, coach, in the Philippines that really caught your eye when you saw them play?
Oh yes, of course, Fajardo by far. Fantastic player. The way he sealed in the post, the way he rim ran, the way he shared the ball out of the double. I told him after the game, when we shook hands after the game, I said, it's going to be an honor of me to show my young players clips of how you played in this game, because it really was fantastic. The way he sealed, the way, like I said, where we doubled, when we doubled, understanding, where that double was coming from. Just really a fantastic player. And just from the brief time that I met him, a decent guy, a good guy. But him by far was so impressive. Pringle was everywhere, and I understand all that. But really for me, and Chris has done hard, Chris he really is a bulldozer. He's just going to outwork people,
Right.
But really, Fajardo was just his basketball IQ was so high, and he's so well, taught. The way he played that game was just fantastic. So he immediately stands out. Absolutely.
Well, no wonder he's the 6-time PBA MVP, a pro league here. So that already gives an account for that.
Head and
right?
shoulders. Head and shoulders. And I know, he could do what he wants when he wanted. And it wasn't that he was like overly strong, like Shaquille O'Neal can do what he wanted.
Would overpower them, right?
Because he's just so big and strong. That's always the case. He just was, his IQ is so good, and his fundamentals are so solid. And you can tell that he really took the time or was taught properly, and he worked at it and worked at it and worked at it. And like I said, we did film session. I cut up film now, and I send it to players. I said, look at this rim run. Look at this seal. This is something for you to really look at, and this is what you want to achieve yourself, work on these things, So, yeah, Fajardo by far.
Okay. So, Coach Chris, if ever, for example, you have any message to the Philippine basketball fans, and of course, for example, you're in front of the entire UST community, what is your message?
My message to the people is
to
that
the people.
Here's a person from the United States that is truly appreciative of the passion that the fans have and the people have for Filipino basketball. That really, and I say it a lot, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but that really sticks home to me. You have people, that could say are fans and this, that, but they are rabid fans. And I truly appreciate that they honor winners, and it's a pride in their country for basketball. And that's something that for me, being on the outside looking in, that has always affected me. And I'm in awe and admire that so much, that the people there take basketball like it's their baby, it's their thing, and I think that's fantastic. I'm in awe of that.
Okay, Coach Chris, thank you so much for your time. I know it's late evening in your area. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk to you. Among the applicants in the UST vacancy, it's only you who, most of the Filipino basketball fans are not, really familiar, because except for those who follow international basketball, because most of the applicants, are alumni or, have played in the PBA. Now, this is a great opportunity, for basketball fans to get to know who is Coach Chris Daleo.
Well, and to be honest with you, I work here in the United States with Tacombo basketball. and they place a lot of Filipino Americans over,
Right.
so, and I've been doing a lot of evaluation with them, weekly on their players to go sit over. So it's not like all this is new to me. It's not, because I've been involved indirectly for quite some time. Tacumbo is a perfect example of that. And working with, playing there in the SEA Games, and working with, Jason Brinkman and Ethan Albano, or there's another player that comes to mind that I had, who's a Filipino that played it for Olive. So all that stuff I may be a new face to people who don't always know, but Filipino basketball is nothing new to me. Nothing new at all. So that's it. But I appreciate it. Like I said, I just love to sit here and talk basketball. I can do this, and I'm sorry if I'm long-winded. I just get excited, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Coach Chris. Hopefully we're crossing our fingers that we'll be able to get in touch with you, and hopefully here in the Philippines sometime in the near future.
I tell
Well,
you
maybe
what,
as the USD head
COVID,
coach.
If there was no COVID, I would be on a plane tomorrow. I'll be honest with you. I would be on a plane tomorrow. I've been home since March. My contract is up in Thailand. Borders are closed. I've been on the hunt, for things. But if there was a way that I could fly to the Philippines tomorrow and do a meet and greet and see some things and meet some people without a moment's hesitation, I would be on a plane tomorrow. So if you guys can tell me, I check it all the time. The tourism bureaus, when airports are open, I check it daily. Hey, what's going? If that was open, I'd be on it tomorrow, and I would go there, and I'd love every minute of it.
We're gonna help you tour UST.
What's that?
We're gonna help you tour UST, tour you around the place.
I would trust me. Please tell me when the borders open up. I will be on a flight the very next day out of Chicago O'Hare.
Coach Chris King is working in UST while I graduated in UST. So we'll tour you around UST.
I would do it, and the first meal's on me, just for having me on. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much again, Coach Chris. Good evening in your area.
Thanks,
and
Coach.
Hope to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Great. All righty. Bye-bye now.
Right. Bye.
Bye, Coach. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach Chris Daleo, and one of the applicants actually in the UST coaching head coach vacancy. So, actually, ang in-apply niya is consultant, active consultant. So, what's your take with Coach Chris Daleo? I think he has a lot of basketball experience in his body already.
Yeah.
So that makes it parang one of the, how can I say it, one of the favorites also if we take into consideration the experience wise.
Well, I think he brings a lot of experience from a coaching standpoint. 30 years of basketball experience, being, like what I mentioned earlier, the sixth highest winning percentage in CBA alongside Phil Jackson and all these other NBA coaches. And but I feel that he's going to be in tough competition in getting that job for UST. I mean, locally we've got really good coaches, and I've got firm belief in our Philippine coaches. Around here, there's just a slew of talents that we have that we can plug in there and help UST. And of course, you've got Sean Chambers also is applying for that position. So he's a foreigner from a nationality standpoint, but definitely he's a Filipino by heart, having played here for Alaska and being really close with Coach Tim Cone. I think that brings a different kind of dynamic in terms of the challenge on who's going to get that UST coaching job. But it is going to be pretty interesting how things pan out for UST. That vacancy has really opened up a lot of opportunities for some coaches who want to get into a school with a winning tradition and build them up again back to where they were before. And I think it's going to be, just to be straightforward about it, pretty tough for Coach Chris, but we wish him luck. And hopefully, when he gets the job, he holds up to that promise of that first meal when you guys tour him in UST.
You'll join us.
Yeah.
And I'll bring him to Jollibee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a good problem for UST.
Right.
It's seldom that you see a vacancy in head coach in your men's basketball that a lot of coaches are really interested.
Yeah.
How about you, Coach Chris?
Para sa akin, what UST needs now is someone who will really lead them and do the right thing. Gawin yung tamang mga bagay and someone who's tough. No? Given the situation that players left, they need a tough coach. Hindi pwedeng babysitter coach ngayon. No? So, si Coach Chris, palagay ko, he's dark horse. Dahil nandyan si Sean Chambers, di ba sabi nga ni Coach Mike. And the other, what's common with the other applicants to is the Aric Del Rosario DNA.
Yeah.
So, talagang sentimental yung maski si Sean Chambers may Aric Del Rosario DNA because Aric Del Rosario, the late great Aric Del Rosario, was assistant coach to Alaska in the 90s. So, madalas nga daw dinadala ni Tatay Ari si Sean Chambers pag championship games, di ba? Yun yung di ba? Yung 4-peat stretch ng UST. So, ngayon, may bagong regent na yung IPEA ng UST, Institute of Physical Education and Athletics, si Father Rodel Cansancio, OP. Let's see what he can do in evaluating the credentials of the applicants. He's a young priest. I think he's a basketball lover too. Kaabot kami niya nung seminarista kami. So medyo kilala ko yan talaga. Well, he's an older guy, pero kita ko talaga naglalaro din ng basketball. He understands his basketball. So, let's see in the coming days saan kapupuntahan ng UST coaching application saga.
Yes. Actually, I don't want to put you on the spot for both of you. If you were UST, who would you actually choose to be the head coach? If ever. Masyadong on the spot. Kasi sa totoo, kahit ako, I don't think I can make the decision right now. Kasi there are too many. I think there are 12. My God. So, personally, siguro, I would love to have Coach Chris Daleo. But siguro more on the consultant side. Pero I would want to have a Filipino head coach since makaka-relate sila sa mga college players with Coach Chris Daleo teaching or helping the Filipino head coach or suggesting what he can do. Feel ko. Pero I think more on I would want an alumni of UST to be the head coach simply because he knows the ins and outs of the university, and then may tutulong na lang sa kanya na other coaches to guide him kasi syempre hindi naman kakayanin ng head coach mag-isa yan so kailangan niya collective effort So yun sa akin. Sa inyo ba, coaches?
Well, I'm with you with having Coach Chris Daleo as a consultant. I mean, a different perspective on the game could do us good, and his winning approach. No, he's the way that he handles people and his players, and the love that his players have shown. I think that's going to be a big help for us when we get Chris Daleo as a consultant. But then as far as doing the head coaching job, I'm gonna go back to because I'm from San Beda, no, and I'm gonna go back to how we were doing it. I feel that anybody who's got that real love for the school is the one that UST needs now, no, and you are right that it should be maybe somebody who's an alumnus. Somebody who played for the school before, preferably somebody who won championships for the team before, because that already goes to show you how much he'd value, the tradition and the culture of the school of UST. So if you ask me now, who I think, having said those qualifications, I believe Chot Tankinsen would be one of the players that I think would be doing good. He's got really good experience from the pro league. He's a very passionate player when he was playing. I mean, put him alongside maybe Chris Cantonhos, who also won championships for UST, and try to be that role model, to lead by example to these players that say that would kind of send the message na, hey guys, andito tayo para manalo ng championship sa UST. It's not just because of your future careers as basketball players. We understand that, we will build that too, but let's take care of the school and everything else will take care of itself. And yeah, the high side is very promising for UST after this difficult situation that you guys have been in. Napakalaki ng upside for UST. It's just a matter of finding that right coach that would actually build that culture for the historic school in the country.
How about you, Coach Chris?
Sinabi ni Coach Mike, no, playing with pride for the school. And how do you play with pride for the school? You play as a student athlete. You play for the name in front, no? Yung scholarship magiging sapat na. Yung food stamp magiging sapat na. So, yun ang essence ng pagiging student athlete. Eh. So, ang kailangan na coach ng UST sa ngayon is someone who can bring that mindset. Na ikaw ay student athlete. Student comes first. Ang scholarship ay mas higit na mas malaki kesa sa anumang pera ang nandyan sa harapan mo. Dahil yun yung kalakarang nangyayari. That's another story. And also, coach that could also battle against the current trend of having agents in the high school and the college ranks in the Philippines. So, kailangan isang coach na matatag na labanan yung Agos na yun. At lumangoy laban sa Agos na yun. Na ibalik yung purity ng amateurism sa basketball. And I think Coach Chris Daleo, pwedeng consultant, Sean Chambers, or even Alex Compton. Di ba? Nababanggit ang pangalan ni Alex Compton. Pero yun na, ang maganda dito, isang alumnus na talagang nagmahal sa UST, nanalo with UST. Marami dyan. Right. Chris Cantonos, Chot Tankinsen, multi-titled PBA coach. Yung bang nabuhay talaga na ito ako ngayon, nakapagtapos ako sa UST, may diploma ako ng UST na sa tingin ko mas mag-endure yan forever versus any money that can be offered to a player. Kasi nga, di ba, they're just one major injury away. These kids don't realize that. They're just one injury away from ruining their lives, and the biggest fallback that they can have is their diploma. Is their education. We need, for the UST men's basketball coach, is someone who can bring that mindset to these kids.
Yeah, and to your point, Coach Chris, about Coach Chot Tankinsen, he's it's going to be personally from an MO standpoint. He's going to have that agenda of winning one for UST, and that brings full circle his existence as a basketball coach, a basketball player, and eventually to a coach. How beautiful would it be to have him win a championship for UST after this scenario? I mean, that's going to be a very glorious day for Coach Chot, and I mean, a lot of promise as well for the UST players, because he's also got connections with San Miguel, and that could be a career path for these young guns who would hopefully would bring that title back to UST.
I see. So that goes with our UST head coaching vacancy. We'd like also to say thank you to Coach Chris Daleo. I know it's late in the evening in US, yet he accommodated our request to interview him, and he just messaged us right now. Thanks for having me, guys. That actually we no one. I haven't heard about Coach Chris Daleo ever since he the news broke out that he is applying for the coaching vacancy. So this is something new for me to hear from himself how he will, what is his goal, how will he implement his strategy if ever he gets that, that vacancy or that job. So, kanina, we were talking about it before Coach Chris, entered the fray. Kanina, nahihirapan nga ako Coach Chris, kaya Coach Chris King ang tawag.
Oo nga.
Player niya pala si Chris King, yung import ng Ginebra.
Oo nga.
1990 pa yun.
Oo, grabe.
So, we'll continue. So, we'll continue with the NBA playoffs. So, kanina, di ba, sinasabi natin na will this have the same result if it's, if it's in the normal setting? Now, we answered that already. So, after the 14 playoff series, who can you say is the surprise team for you?
Me, definitely, it's Miami Heat. Well, one of the things that we're talking about the East now is because, if Boston was in it, definitely people will be talking about it. They were hoping that Giannis would be enough to bring his team into the Eastern Conference Finals, but they met this Miami team that I feel si Jimmy Butler kasi is a key factor, no? You can say other players as well are in there, but I think it's the acquisition of Jimmy Butler. And parang na-empower kasi si Jimmy Butler, he was given that free hand at how to parang kind of lead these young guns, yung mga batang players ng Miami, and including the veterans as well. You would say that the most passionate player on the floor could be Jimmy Butler, but on the bench he's not, because there's Udonis Haslem who's really pushing everyone, and mas lalo na yung combination of the defense. This is something that I've been harping about the Miami Heat. We know already Pat Riley has a very good culture when it comes to conditioning, no? It's well talked about, well documented. You've got players na opting out because of sa sobrang hirap ng conditioning ng Miami, but the way that this team is being built now by Coach Pat Riley and together with Coach Poe has really brought about a different kind of confidence, if you may say, and yung getting the defensive specialist in Jay Crowder, Iggy, Andre Iguodala. I felt that was a scary sight in Game 1 when it was I think final seconds of the game of that Game 1 close game with Boston. Miami was on defense. There was a timeout. As Jimmy Butler was on his way back to the court, he was talking to Andre Iguodala with his jersey covering his mouth. I presume would be talking about defense. So gaano ka nakakatakot yun, no? The prospect of Andre Iguodala, who's guarded almost every best player on any team, transferring that knowledge to Jimmy Butler, and he's got this free hand of teaching this as well and be that role model para sa mga ibang players na Miami. Grabe, sobrang nakakatakot, and nagre-respond yung mga players ng Miami. So I'd say definitely it's Miami. Well, outside of Denver, who's done that 3-1 fabulous thing, but really the surprise to me would be Miami.
How about you, Coach Chris?
Same with Coach Mike, no? Player pa rin pala si Udonis Haslem, no? Kala ko assistant coach na eh.
Ano pa rin siya?
Player pa rin
Pero yun nga, speaking of mentoring, di ba? Nandun si Udonis Haslem, no? Championship runs with Miami. Siya yung pinakamaraming rings sa roster nila, no? What a way to mentor players. Ako fan ako ng mentoring, di ba? Yung kahit hindi ka na naglalaro, nandun ka lang sa bench, you're being a good example to everyone. You're being a positive teammate to everyone. Yung eksena nga na yun, very touching, yung kay Andre Iguodala tsaka kay diba? Jimmy Butler. Talaga seryoso. Ganun sila kaseryoso. Ganun sila talagang eye on the prize. And yun nga sinabi ni Jimmy Butler, diba? I won't bring my family members here. It's all business. This is business. So, ganun yung sa kanya, no? Yung halaga ng ginagawa niya na parang di ba, yung sinasabi ko sa mga estudyante ko, pag nandito kayo sa classroom, wala kayong ibang isipin kundi mag-aral. Dahil ako, bilang guro nyo, nandito ako sa eskwelahan para magturo. Si Jimmy Butler, ganun, nandito ako sa bubble, sasama yung pamilya ko. On business, I want to win.
Right.
And yun nga, nabigyan siya ng free hand, no? To be reinvented. No? Ito na yung bagong Jimmy Butler. Medyo villainous, pero dahil effective.
At saka
May
the last
coffee business pa nga siya eh.
Oo, may coffee business pa.
Oo, meron pa nagnegosyo.
Mabigat yan. He's 1 year. This is his first year in Miami, if I believe, diba? And the last time yung Miami got into the playoffs was during the time of LeBron. It's only now. Tapos they have an opportunity to bring him directly dun sa finals. Grabe.
Ano yan? Perang malaking naghihintay yan pag nag-champion sila.
Right. Malaking bonus yun. Right.
Which, sa inyo naman, sino yung player na after this 14 playoff series that, disappointed you and surprised you?
Surprised, I think, would be Jamal Murray. Especially with that comeback, yung 3-1 comeback. And actually, it's Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. These two have really broken out. And it's a breakthrough season for them. Though it's the bubble, but we've seen them play in a more difficult environments. Pero nagtatribes talaga sila sa ganung And yung wildcat mentality ni Jamal Murray is very evident. Even in his college days, that archer move is nandun na talaga. Alam mong may swag siya. And I like yung yung how he leads the team. And in one of the interviews of Coach Mike Malone, he says that, when every time he'd have that conversation with Jamal Murray, and he would tell Jamal Murray that when Jamal asked him how to be the player, what does he need to improve? And Coach Mike Malone, without batting an eyelash, said, "You're very inconsistent. Good players are inconsistent, meaning they could be good in one game, bad on another, but the elite ones are really bring it every night and give that production." So I think that's one thing that worked for Jamal Murray, having that right coach, and yung mentality pa niya as, having played for Kentucky and also for this new breed of coaches in Coach Mike Malone. Ibang klase yung binigay sa kanya. I think that's the factor of yung coach. Kaya I'm really surprised with how Jamal Murray has responded. Nakita mo naman yung parang mala Michael Jordan niyang move yesterday. Grabe. Everybody was tweeting about it. Sobra. Yeah.
Everything but the win.
Everything but the win. But LeBron James happened on the defense. So we'll see how that turns out.
Coach Chris. Sige.
Yung disappointing.
Go ahead, Coach Mike nga pala.
Yeah.
Yung
disappointing, I'd say Giannis Antetokounmpo. Although I feel na hindi siya masyadong well supported, no. Medyo kulang yung supporting cast niya in fairness to him. But the way the expectations have built up to fall short, at least makaabot man lang sana ng Eastern Conference Finals, no. To be falling short in the second round, medyo sayang. No, so na defensive player of the year pa siya, tapos back-to-back MVP, no. So I think that's
mamaya meron akong tatanong sa inyo na medyo related diyan kay
sige.
Basta mamaya exciting. Coach Chris, sa inyo naman, the player that surprised you and the player that disappointed you in the playoffs?
Una yung nag-disappoint muna, no. Player and team, no. Player Paul George and team Clippers. Diba? Pandemic fee is really feeling the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay?
They were the first casualty.
Yes. Pandemic mode, 'di ba, Coach Mike, na parang may COVID si Paul George maglaro, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Tapos isa pa, bukod doon, Danny Green. 'Di ba? Danny Green. 'Di ba mayroon pang mga memes na kumakalat kung siya nga raw ang bumaril kay Tupac Shakur. Malamang buhay pa si Tupac Shakur dahil it miss. Diba? Ano ba nangyayari dito kay Danny Green? Diba? One of the best sharpshooters. Tapos ngayon, wala. Throwing bricks. Then, biggest surprise. Sabi ko nga kanina, nung opening natin, Tyler Hero. Diba? Pag pinapanood ko, sabi ko, sana ganyan ako nung 20 years old ako. ganun. Ngayon, 39 na ako eh. Sabi ko ganun. Kahit ano lang, kapraso lang. Makapaglaro man lang sa mga recreational league, di ba, Coach Mike, no? Konting pa, ano lang. Sabi ko,
1 to 2 shots lang na pamasok. Okay na.
Pwede upo na ako. Na, ganun. Galing nitong bata na to. Sabi ko na bang, yung kanyang talagang ano, no, yung drive niya, no? Again, saan galing college uli yan, Coach Mike? Kentucky din ba? Kentucky din, di ba? The Kentucky Wildcat Swag. Di ba? Ang saya-saya.
Nung bata pa yan, elite na talaga siya. Elite player na siya nung high school pa lang siya.
Special talaga tong player na to. Talagang bata na to, makikita natin. Under the radar, no? Went under the radar of the scouts, but turned out to be the biggest surprise ever. Ngayon.
Now, in social media, there were different, memes or may mga opinions on different scenarios. Do you believe that Nikola Jokic is, a top 5 center in the league already?
If we're considering his vision and yung passing niya, I'd say yes, no. But he's still got more to learn, no. I think defensively that's where he's become a liability. Offensively, without a doubt, him being on the elbow, and minsan nga nakikita mo siya pa yung nagbababa ng bola di ba? From the backcourt, instead na siya maglabas, siya yung nagbababa, no. Either from a make or a miss rebound, siya yung nagbababa and pag binababa niya yung bola, naalala ko si Ramon Fernandez, di ba? Si Ramon Fernandez during that time yung
center.
Di ba? Yung kaliwat kanan. So I think he is, but there are other challenges as well. You've also got si Bam Adebayo who's also come into force with the way he's been performing. But in terms of skill set offensively, maybe a little more on the defensive end, I'd say it's Jokic is one of the best big guys that we have. Sobrang surprising din siya. With the way he's built his performance this year.
Coach Chris?
Siguro talent-wise, skill set-wise, is in the top 5. No? Pero yun nga, one thing that he should work out is his work ethic. Yung lumalabas na picture niya nung bata siya, yung may man boob siya. Siguro parang yun nga sabi ko, parang nakikita ko sarili ko dito. kung nakita ko yun, sabi ko parang minsan sa galaw ni Nikola Jokic, parang lumalabas yun. Lumalabas yung bata na yun.
Yeah.
Diba parang sloppy, slouchy, di ba? Siguro pag nag-off season, siguro isang niya, mag-hire siya ng di ba, ng conditioning coach na talagang magpapatone ng katawan niya. Like si Giannis Antetokounmpo, di ba? Pumasok yan, pat-patin. Di ba? Para siyang nangangalabit sa EDSA na bata, di ba? Ganong payat na bata. Pero tingnan mo naman in about 3 to 4 years, di ba? Parang talagang nag-transform yung katawan niya. So si Nikola Jokic, kung ilalagay mo yung katawan ni Giannis sa kanya, he will be a dangerous player in the years to come. Lagay mo yung muscle na gano'n, talagang kakatakutan niya.
Ang lang doon is paano magre-respond yung katawan niya kasi galing siya sa mataba siya So may mga players kami before na galing sa mataba na kahit na naging lean na, ganun pa rin yung galaw Because yun na yung kinalakihan mo di ba? Parang yung naging nurture mo So even yung how he, that first step and that side-to-side movement, he has to build that also from a skill set, not just yung conditioning. So we'll see. Yeah.
Siguro yung parang Shaquille O'Neal na mag-hire siya ng parang para makuha niya yung galaw ni Shaq na power moves, di ba?
Now, do you believe that the Golden State Warriors still has this championship window open?
I 100% definitely agree. I'm an avid Golden State fan. I love Steve Kerr and I love Brad Stevens. I think the culture na binild ni Steve Kerr doon is, nakikita mo even in a losing season, they could have lost much worse considering na wala yung mga top players nila. The only one that was left there was Draymond Green and he was joined by Andrew Wiggins, no? But still nakikita mo in their games winnable yung mga losses nila So, and yung the way kung paano dine-develop nila Golden State, yung mga young players nila, it's really amazing. It's fantastic to see these young guns. Eric Pascal for one,
Oh
na ang
yes,
promise was,
revelation.
oh yeah, he's a bulkier and a stronger Draymond Green, and he's lived up to that expectation. And I think he's part of the rookie team, first rookie team, no? So or at the top 5 or top 10 rookies of this batch, and makikita mo talaga yung development eh. Although very interesting what's going to happen next, especially with them, I think picking number 2 ba? I think they're
Yes,
second
number
pick,
two,
di ba?
number two.
So very interesting yan. You got a lot of prospects coming in from the draft. And ano bang gagawin nila doon sa draft na yun? Will they use that to lure in another big name? Maybe Giannis, maybe, or someone else, I don't know. But that's just how Golden State has been. It's a winning culture, and yung consistency, I believe, because of the leadership and the style of Steve Kerr has really parang transcended and got into the veins of the players.
How about you, Coach Chris?
I can compare it to the hibernation of a cobra. Masyadong dangerous ngayon, no? Pag nag-shed na ng skin, pag lumitaw na yung bagong skin in the form of new players, diba?
Yeah.
Surprise packages after this season and after the draft. Definitely, after the draft, may surprise yan.
Yes.
Hawak nila yung number 2, no? So, pag ang isang cobra nag-shed ng skin at meron tinubuan ng bagong skin at lumabas sa hibernation, mas makamandag yan. And I believe that's how the Golden State Warriors are right now. They're more lethal after this. So,
Ang ano kasi dyan dito, parang si Steph and then si Clay medyo pagod na dahil with the continuous tapos ngayong taon biglang nagkaroon sila ng pahinga.
Sobrang pahinga.
And then nakakuha sila ng young talent in Wiggins, and knowing Steve Kerr that he can develop a player, makukuha niya yung potential marirealize ni Wiggins yung potential niya once he plays along with Curry and Thompson. I think this will be a scary team. Plus, ang bonus pa dyan, nagkaroon pa ng number 2 pick sila. So, I just don't know kung anong gagamitin nila sa number 2. Is it a rookie or trade up with another player? Pero I think, parang pinaubaya lang muna ng Golden State itong season na to. And next season, in the next 3 years, I believe, will be, a scary sight for the league to see.
Oh, yeah.
Once, Steph, Clay, and Wiggins, siguro si Draymond medyo pababa na laro niya, will be playing in their full potential. Diba?
And the possibility of getting LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Yes. Isa pa yun.
Grabe.
Parang pang-ready pag magre-retire na si
Steph.
Si Steph, di ba? So, yun yung mga Eto, so before one more question. Yes or no? Is LeBron James still the best player in the league? Coach Mike?
I think yes. No, I think he is. Pero nakikita mo na medyo bumababa na yung performance niya. I guess that comes with age. But the things that he's done, like yung defense niya kay Jamal Murray yesterday, it shows na maaring hindi sa points, pero defensively, nagko-contribute pa rin siya. And, you have to admire na he gave up the limelight for, AD to shine. Unlike nung time ni Kobe where, and Dwight Howard, na obviously knowing the Mamba mentality of Kobe Bryant, he's not going to give up that position of being the alpha dog, diba? But in here, you have to admire, in fairness to LeBron, that he gave up that spot knowing that, AD, it's your turn. Parang, parang supporting cast siya kay AD, di ba?
Yes. Kaya nothing but respect for LeBron James. Like what I said earlier, I don't like him as a player, but I believe he's one of the best players in the game. And of course, like what Coach Mike said, yung parang nag-give way siya, in a way, kay AD, shows what type of player or kung gaano kagaling talaga maturity-wise si LeBron James. Coach Chris.
Siguro yun, tama din yung sinabi ni Coach Mike, no? Lumalabas na yung yung konting age factor. And siguro ang magandang gawin ni LeBron James, no, yung transition of mentoring again. Ako fan talaga ako ng good mentoring. Nandiyan na si AD. In the next 2 years, pass the torch to AD. Let LA Lakers be the team of AD. Mas lalo siyang hahangaan ng tao. Pag ginawa niya yung na yun, no, yung mentoring na yun, yung slowly passing on the torch para talagang magkaroon ng magandang winning tradition to para si Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, di ba? Balik tayo doon sa dating Lakers. Nagpaubaya siya kay Magic doon sa isang season, di ba? Sabi ni Pat Riley, it's gonna be your team. Tinanong ni Magic, alam daw ni Kareem do, yes. Alam mo, nagpaubaya na, may license na gawin mo na yung gusto mo. This is your team now. I think that's the di ba, last championship of the Lakers in the 80s. Napanood yung documentary eh.
Inabit ko kasi si Kwame Brown na yung center ng Lakers. Nagpakabata pa eh.
Okay, eto. Before we end the episode, we'll give you, ito yung uso sa mga social media ngayon eh. I'll be giving you 3 names. You choose play 1, you bench 1, you cut 1. Okay? So total, mga coaches kayo eh. So medyo hard decision to para sa inyo. First options, Shaq, Hakeem, Duncan. Play 1, bench 1, cut 1. Coach Mike.
Wow, ang hirap niyan. Ang hirap niyan. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, you can't take away the fact na he's been the purely dominant force inside, no?
Yes.
But if we're looking at the way the game is being played now, no? With the way that the game is being played now, I think I'd keep Shaq because there is no one amongst the big that can go up against him. I mean, if now, I mean, you put in a Shaq in there, wala nang ibang pumuposte ngayon, di ba? Wala nang ibang pumuposte, di ba? Parang it's pure advantage to anyone. I mean, who's going to stop him? Wala. No, not even AD. AD doesn't have a really good post-up defense, no? So I'm gonna keep Shaq. And what's the other one? To play, to bench?
Play, bench, and cut.
I'd say I'd bench Hakeem Olajuwon and cut Duncan. Yes. I know this is a very difficult situation, but you know, just considering the amount of skill set and movement, I guess, because Tim Duncan is always going to be the big fundamental, no? He's the way that he played the game is very simple, no? But in terms of if I'm the owner of the team and I want to bring in more revenue, no? Somebody who's flashier and really good skill set that can play against Shaq. If I keep him, I think I'll just bench muna si Olajuwon and cut Tim Duncan against my better judgment.
Yes. Coach Chris, ikaw.
I'll play Hakeem Olajuwon. Sentimental ako dyan eh, yung talagang yung inside moves niya, no? Finesse. And I'm gonna bench Shaq. Kailangan ko pa rin si Shaq. Yung strong presence in the middle, then gonna cut Tim Duncan. Kasi nga, the way the game is being played now, no, yung mid-range nawala eh. Nawala ngayon yung mid-range, puro outside, no. Ang mag-dominate talaga sa ngayon, sa game ngayon na center palagay ko, yung mold ni Hakeem tsaka ni Shaq. Sabi nga ni Shaq, di ba, I'm gonna average 60 points if I played in this era.
Yeah.
So,
grabe.
Yes.
Talagang walang makakatapat doon. Pero yun nga, yung sa tingin ko kasi wiser si Hakim mo lang yung
Tsaka nakakatakot si Shaq. Even if you're using dribble drive, he's coming off that weak side, short corner. Grabe, nakakatakot. Hindi mo pwedeng iwanan yun eh.
Tatabi ka na lang dun eh.
Yeah.
Ito, unahin natin si Coach Chris naman. Ito yung kanya, si Giannis, Scottie Pippen, or KD? Yan.
I'm gonna play KD. Diba? Talagang two-way player. No? Instant offense, walking bucket. Tapos may depensa din. Then Scottie Pippen, napatunayan na kasi natin talaga na is not really an alpha dog. Talagang nanalo nung talaga siya nung nandun si Michael Jordan, nung nandun siya sa Portland. Hindi siya nag-live up to sa expectation na yun eh.
Yes.
Then, Giannis, siguro, maski two-time MVP, the playoffs is different from the regular season.
Ang ganda ng
regular season, oo.
Ang ganda ng pagkakapare-pareho eh. Pareho ito yung mga
mahaba.
good players pero hirap manalo na mag-isa.
Hirap manalo mag-isa. So si KD, yun nga, kinailangan pa ng tulong ni Steph tsaka ni Clay para manalo. Pero let's see kung ano yung bagong journey niya sa Brooklyn, no? Bagong coach nila, si Steve Nash. No? Let's see kung anong mangyayari doon. Siya yung nag-request noon, special request ni
kasi yun ang nag-mentor niya doon sa Golden State eh. Yeah.
Yes. Coach Mike, ikaw?
Ako, pareho rin ako kay Coach Chris. I'm gonna cut Giannis simply because I feel right now parang hype lang yan. No? It's just media that's hyping him up. Without that ring, wala. I feel he has to prove himself. I'm going to play KD again because there's just nobody that can match up with him. The difficult cover, short range, medium range, offense, defense. Nag-grow kasi siya sa Golden State, mas lalo na defensively. And I'm gonna bench si Scottie Pippen. I'd still keep him pero naka-bench lang siya primarily because of the experience. And tama si Coach Chris that he had that opportunity to be the alpha dog but it didn't turn out well. But he did carry respectfully rin naman si Chicago during that time na wala si Michael Jordan. So medyo naging short lang yung journey na yun para kay Scottie.
Okay. Kay Coach Mike naman tayo ulit. Una, ito, shooters. Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Klay Thompson.
Ang hirap naman.
Ang hirap, di ba? Kahit ako nag-iisip ko kanina eh. Ang hirap.
I'm gonna play Klay Thompson. Because he's very dangerous off curls, no dribbles, one dribble escape, or one dribble escape. Very dangerous si At saka I feel na very textbook yung the way that he rises for his shot, yung the balance, the follow through, no. I like that. I'm gonna wow, ang hirap nitong dalawang to. Ang hirap no?
Oo, di ba?
Yeah. Again, by virtue of championships, I'm gonna go with Ray Allen. Almost rin si si Miller, but it's against my better judgment. I'd keep everyone, but I'm left no choice but to cut si Miller.
Okay, Coach Chris.
Pareho kami ni Coach Mike, no? Si Clay yung ipe-play ko. Kasi talagang one stop, one pop. Diba? Kahit nakapikit yung diba, muscle memory. Yung Mr. Muscle Memory, kahit nakapikit, kahit saan. Then, nagtatalo lang talaga dun sa diba, talagang, by virtue of championships din, Ray Allen. Kasi, parang feeling ko nauna yung forma ng Reggie Miller. Although, siya yung record holder before Ray Allen broke it, diba? Pero, ang tanong, nag-champion ka ba?
Yes.
Champion ka ba? Diba? Yun yung dalawang beses pa.
Next, second to the last. Coach Chris naman tayo. Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Steph Curry. Kahit ako kanina, sinusubukan ko. hirap na hirap ako. Ano uunahin ko dito?
So, sige, ano tayo? Para sa akin, I'm gonna play Jason Kidd. Para sa akin, kung titingnan mo, sabihin ko na, I'm gonna play Jason Kidd. I'm gonna bench Steve Nash. And I'm gonna cut Steph. Sorry sa Golden State Warriors. Nabuhay tayo nung 90s, di ba? Nakita ko kasi yung dalawa na to. Actually, sila naman tatlo, no? Pero itong dalawa na to, franchise difference maker. Na sila lang. Nung nalipat si Jason Kidd sa, di ba, sa New Jersey, nag-iba yung takbo, di ba?
Yes.
Ang laki ng yung difference nung nandun siya sa Phoenix, nag-swap si Marbury yung nilipat doon sa Phoenix. Bumaba yung laro ng Phoenix. Tapos umabot sila ng finals 2 beses. Steve Nash, ganun din. Nung pumunta siya ng Phoenix for the second time, noong mid-2000s, naging contender. Kaya talagang hindi lang talaga yung sistema ni Coach Mike D'Antoni, no? Talagang hindi lang talaga naging successful sa playoffs. Meron siyang chance noong 2006, di ba? Yung pinaul siya ni yung nasuspend si di ba? Si Amare, di ba? Sayang yung chance na yun. Pero it was a very wise move by the San Antonio Spurs players.
Si Will Smith. Will Smith. Si Robert
Horry. Magkamukha kasi, no? Magkamukha.
So, yun. Pero si Steph kasi also a franchise dito defining player. Kaso yun nga, ang bagal na yung naging process, hindi kagad nagkaroon ng impact. So, dun sa dalawa, nagkaroon kagad ng impact. Paglipat nila, instant contender yung kanilang mga nalipat.
Siguro yung kay Steph naman, I think he was lucky that he had Klay Thompson and Steve Kerr. Pero siguro sa akin, I'm gonna play Steve Nash, bench Steph Curry, cut Jason Kidd. Simply because siguro binabase ko sa laro ngayon. And Jason Kidd doesn't have, a consistent shooting, which will be somehow parang mahihirapan yung team if ngayon yung game, how the game is played today, parang mahihirapan yung team niya to succeed if your guard cannot consistently shoot the lights out. Yun yung tingin ko. Coach Mike, ito, maganda yung nito din eh.
Siguro if it's a mature, if it's the Steph Curry now, I'm gonna pick Steph Curry. I'm gonna have him play. Because not just for his contributions on the floor but off the floor. The culture that he builds, the willingness to surrender the limelight and to keep everybody involved, the culture of team. I'd have to pick Steph. Well, aside of course from his percentages, I think mas lalo yung learnings niya through all the years with his path or journey in the NBA. I'm gonna bench Steve Nash and cut Jason Kidd. Bench Steve Nash because feeling ko he doesn't have the way that Steph creates his 3-point shots, no? Maganda yung yung 3-point percentage din ni Steve Nash. Pero the way that Steph creates that shot off the dribble, behind the back, crossover, in and out, over 2 defenders, backing down, backing away, going down court, 40 feet away, titira ka ng game winner na 3 points. I don't think Steve Nash is gonna do that. And kaya pipiliin ko si Steph Curry over Steve and cut si Jason Kidd.
Okay, ito, final, before we wrap things up. Alam niyo naman, sige. Coach Mike naman, kasi alternate kayo. LeBron, Kobe, MJ. All-time best.
I'd say MJ. I'll keep MJ because he's consistent all throughout, no? Barring yung injuries niya and him leaving the NBA for baseball, I think he's he's consistent and he's the guy during that time, no? Magugulat ka back then, magugulat ka pag hindi si Michael Jordan yung nag-game winner. Pag hindi siya yung magugulat ka 'di ba? Kobe Bryant, I'd bench him because I feel there's two Kobes the number 8 and number 24. And I feel the 24 became more mature. That's when he accepted na, he needs others to win. But yung number 8 niya kasi parang, you have that swag pero parang sobra yung swag na yon. And you can see that in the slam dunk competition, how he carried himself. Well, primarily because he was young, that time. So I'll bench him and then I'll cut si LeBron again against my better judgment. Because I feel these two are the competitors that everyone's been emulating. LeBron is really more parang, to me, a Magic Johnson and Scottie Pippen type of player. Now, more of facilitating. Unlike si MJ, he never was told to be a facilitator. So, si Kobe rin, hindi naman siya facilitator. And I feel kaya hindi naman naging facilitator yung dalawa is because of the offense that they played. They played the triangle offense. There's no need for a point guard. Kaya kung makikita mo yung mga identical moves nila, di ba, na video na lumalabas, talagang identical yon kasi same yung offense and same yung movement. The footwork is the same. The moves are the same. Na-transfer lang to Kobe Bryant. Wala namang ibang galaw doon kundi yung pa rin. So, I guess that's the difference of LeBron James kasi facilitating siya, more on facilitating.
Coach Chris?
Same, kay Michael Jordan. Talagang, wala. Pound for pound. He will really take over. Unusual, sabi nga ni Coach Mike na hindi siya yung titira ng last shot to win. Saka yung last shot niya, hindi yung tied game, lamang yung kalaban. Diba ni Michael Jordan. Then, with Kobe Bryant, lagi kong tatandaan dyan yung yung sinabi ng memorial ni Kobe Bryant, lahat kinopya niya kay Michael Jordan. So, parang it's as if Jordan was in the body, the soul of Jordan was in the body of...
Yung naging template no?
Oo, yung naging template Parang Avatar, di ba? Parang Avatar, di ba? Nandun, ang nasa loob nung katawan, si Michael Jordan, pero yung physical, si Kobe. Tapos si LeBron James, he's great, pero yun nga, more of, nga talaga yung parang, he needs others to win. Hindi, nagbubuhat, pero, kailangan ng kailangan ng suporta. Itong dalawa na to, kailangan din naman ng suporta, may tamang suporta, pero yun nga, they're the top dog.
Okay. Tsaka kasi nung bata pa siya, sorry, kicks.
Yes, go ahead, Coach Mike. Sige.
Yung kay LeBron kasi nasanay din kasi siya even during his high school days na all-star yung mga supporting cast niya So nasanay siya ng ganun Kaya I feel I could be wrong but I feel that when he got to the Cavs, it's credit to him dahil sobrang hina nung team na yon, dinala niya sa finals, 'di ba?
Grabe.
Pero doon niya na-realize na kailangan talaga niya ng all-star level na support.
Kasama.
Yeah, sa akin naman, I would choose, play MJ. I still consider him as the best. Now, since I have MJ already, I'll just bench LeBron. And ikakat ko si Kobe kasi parang feel ko naman. I have MJ already, so I don't need a yung parang copycat. Copycat in a good way, okay? Duplicate in him. So I'll just get LeBron para just in case na si LeBron ipapasok ko. Different type. Kasi for example, if the defense knows, pareho lang yan, so they won't adjust the defense lang. Yeah. So probably as much I don't want to do this, I'll cut Kobe, bench LeBron, play MJ. Parang ganun. Now,
ang bigat yun.
Ang bigat nga di ba?
Bigat no.
You have any other final message or you have someone to greet before we close our program? Coach Mike, come on.
Well, for me, I just want to thank Kiko and Extra Sessions for having us over. It's been a pleasure. Ang ganda ng kwentuhan natin. And it's always nice to share something about the game of basketball. And I'd like to take this opportunity, Kiko, to invite everyone to view our podcast as well. It's Bounce Pass PH. We are live every Friday at 8 p.m. Together with my co-coaches, Coach James Tolentino, Coach Pawi Casiano, Coach Teddy Polinga. We're going to talk a lot about basketball. We've got some breakdowns as well, coaches, players, what have you. Anything that's basketball, we talk about it. And kudos to you and to your podcast. I'm really very impressed with yung guests that you get. It brings a different perspective to your viewers and your followers. So congratulations for a very good show, and sana hindi ka rin manawa sa pag-guest sa amin sa Bounce Pass.
Oo naman. Anytime, basta tayo, no? Three-Angulo nga tayo.
Three-Angulo. Abangan nyo sa susunod na mga linggo.
Three-Angulo. Coach Chris.
Unang-una, salamat kapatid na Rico, no? Dito sa pag-ipit ka sa akin ni Coach Mike sa extra session. No? We're very honored. Why? Kasi ito podcast na to ang laging nauuna sa mga big time guests.
Oo nga. Kaya nagugulat ako.
Siguro, minsan, naisip ko pagkatapos itong episode nito, kukunin na kami ni Coach Mike doon sa ibang podcast.
Actually, yung mga nanonood raw nga ngayon, nagulat kung paano rin tayo nakuha.
Oo. So, yun. Baka mamaya may ma-receive akong tawag, sasabihin, Coach Chris, baka pwede ka naman Dito nyo lang una nakikita sa extra session.
Baka mamaya,
yung mga guests.
Baka mamaya nasa NBL ka na rin, di ba? Ikaw yung guest naman ni Kiko.
Oo. Ito, maraming salamat doon sa nanonood ng Sumasampalataya. No? It's a different type of a podcast, ministry yan, no? Para ma-inspire yung ating mga kababayan. Sa panahon ng pandemya, wala tayong ibang pwedeng gawin kundi bigyan ng inspirasyon yung mga kapwa-tao natin. Bigyan natin sila ng positive vibes, no? Tsaka, yun nga, message ko doon sa mga ito, nagiging advocacy ko na to. For the student athletes, student comes first. Maging sapat na sana ang diploma. Dahil yan ang dadalhin nyo hanggang sa tumanda kayo. Yan ang maipapamana ninyo hanggang doon sa mga susunod na henerasyon nyo. Pero mauubos yan. Kasinaw siya pero mauubos yan. Pero yung diploma, kahit amagin yan, nandito yan. So, yun. Yung message ko lalo sa mga student athletes.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Chris, Coach Mike. It has been a pleasure. Hopefully, mauulit to doon sa sinasabi nating Three-Angulo. Yes. Parang Ninja Kids, no? So, batiin ko lang lovely wife ko si Leo, mga kids ko, si Kyle, si Kiyo na nag-iingay sa labas ngayon. And then sa inyong dalawa for helping me out, Coach Mike, of course, sa recording din. Thank you so much, Coach Chris, for the advices also. Thank you so much. And of course, sa lahat, malapit na rin pala ang NBL bubble playoffs. So, abangan din along with the WNBL draft. Abangan din yan. Kamustahin natin si Miss Rose, pati si Sir Edward also. And thank you also sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta sa ating podcast. Don't forget, Sumasampalataya every Sunday and every Friday, Bounce Pass. Then every Monday naman, extra session. So, different days yan. So, hindi kayo mabubore. Di ba nga? At the start of the week and at the end of the week, meron, kompleto.
Yung in between, nakita na doon sa sa podcast ni Kiko.
Anyway, this has been Kiko Malicdem in behalf of the Guerrila Podcast Syndicate. Games are always exciting if there is extra session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to visit our website at www.guerrillapodcastsyndicate.com, where you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. You can also join the conversation with Guerrillas RV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please consider on making a donation to help us keep making the podcast you love. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. A Guerrila Podcast Syndicate production.